That sound you hear? Those are coyotes. Wouldn't want to be in the middle of that. That guitar you just heard has a very special story to it. It came from an event I did with some really great people. The piece of music you just heard came from one of the people who was central to that event, and you all know who he is, so I'll save that for a second. But that guitar was a real leap of faith. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the event, and I want to talk about this cool piece of music that was written by a friend of all of ours. So check out the wood on this guitar. It's three-dimensional. Look at it move when I just turn it a little bit. And when you're in front of it, it feels like you can actually put your hand into it. I got this guitar in return for doing a music school, an online music school that's coming around again with Tyler and Paul Reed Smith and a bunch of other great musicians. And I couldn't be there, so I chose it from a photograph. They went into the wood room and I asked for the widest flame that they could possibly find. I wanted a tiger stripe, and they found it. I waited 6 months while they built it. And the amazing thing, you never know, but it actually sounds better than it looks. When I say you never know, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm beginning to think with PRS that you do know. Now, lest you think that I am a PRS advertiser, it's never been that way. If you look at my last 10 videos, I think 3 of them have PRSs. I play old Gibsons, play a lot of guitars. Tom Anderson is a friend of mine. He's made my guitars for years. Floyd Rose is a new friend of mine. He's been to the house. I love his new guitars. K Tang from South Korea comes here during NAMM. I love his guitars. I play these guitars in my videos. It's not just PRS. But I know Paul. I've known him for a long time. We text and call each other as friends primarily. That's where everything comes from. I'm beginning to think the consistency has gotten so good on these that you kind of do know when you buy one sight unseen. Let me shift the camera so you can see the amp I'm playing through. It's the HX50, which is a clone of an actual Hendrix touring Marshall, Plexi Marshall. I'm pushing it with a microamp, which basically explodes the front end, keeps kind of the same tone, but just goes to the front end. I add reverb from the Ebo Reverb. A little bit of stereo delay in Pro Tools. Last but not least, I'm playing through a jet engine loud 4x12 downstairs that's mic'd up with old Celestians that have date codes from 1968. Now, what would make me say that this is the best PRS I've ever owned? The best sounding PRS. And I truly think it is after playing it for a few weeks. I would call it tonal balance. So if you look at the top end, and I play up high here on the neck, it's sweet, it's bell-like, it's bright, but it's never thin and it's never nasal sounding. It reminds me of Jimmy Page's solo sound on Stairway to Heaven. Now, when I talk about the bottom end, it's just the right size. It's not too strong and not too woofy. It's tight and controlled. And these two qualities, this kind of top end and this kind of bottom end, make the mid-range kind of take care of itself. If this is the right size and this is the right size, bottom and top, the mid-range just emerges, and this mid-range is really sweet. I've experienced that with amps forever, that the top and the bottom have to be just right for the mids to actually emerge. So it really is tonal balance. Let's talk about different types of learning. The reason that guitar is so tonally balanced is because the people that made it relentlessly pursue improvements. So everything gets better, and they're not restrained by tradition. You know, these are newer guitar companies that don't have to actually honor the design of something that was perfected in 1958. They can move any direction they want and improve stuff, and yet they can keep all the elements that made those old guitars great. So it's kind of a great combination. Now let's move on to Tyler's learning. The reason that song blew me away is it was kind of buried at the end of a big video he did about Dave Grohl, but I could tell this was him being an artist. And he even mentioned something about it. Tyler's learning to be an artist. That's what's next for him. So learning is not just learning the fastest new lick. To me, it's making music part of your life and making the best music you can, using the guitar in service of music. Now, my learning, the next thing I want to learn to do, I want to use my fingers on my right hand. I want to put down my pick and get better at playing the electric guitar, at plucking it with the 5 fingers of my right hand. So the PRS Maryland Hall Online Music School is swinging back around on August 9th, 2021. It's 4 days of learning about music. Lots of teachers on guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, and vocals. Your ticket also gives you permanent lifetime access to a digital version that you can stream anytime. You can revisit endlessly and keep learning. This is very much a 360 approach to learning music. I know for a fact that I've learned some of my greatest rhythm guitar skills from drummers and my greatest lead guitar skills from vocalists. So click the link below in the description under this YouTube video and please join us. Part of the proceeds will be benefiting the Johns Hopkins Sidney Kimball Cancer Center. So part of your tuition goes to a great cause that is helping a lot of people. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. If you are a subscriber, please ring the bell. It lets us let you know every time a new video is released. You can also support us by clicking the link below for the online masterclass. As I always say, we're up to over 100 hours of lessons and content, over 1,000 videos. There's a 14-day free trial. Take your time, take a long look. We'd love to have you join us.